today's guest, right? She's more than just a triple threat, you know? I mean, she can sing, she can dance, she can act. And tell me now about the dancing side of you know? Because, of course, you're doing some really cool stuff during the 2010 FIFA World Cup. You were also, of course, traveling a lot with Thembi. They're all over the world. Tell us more about you in terms of dancing.
Oh, man. Dance was like a passion for me.
Let's look at songwriting. Okay, I mean, Thembi said they, Lira, Denim. These are people you've written music for. How did that happen?
It was literally all through Thembi. I remember people like, no, you need to be a piano DJ because piano is making a lot of money and you used to dance, so it would be easy. You could just dance with the piano songs. And I was like, I don't want to do something because it's popular. I want to do something because it means something to me.
We're all about sharing the facts and teaching the tricks. Let's talk all things about music, the life of music. Let's engage about the rhythm. Let's talk about our passion for melodies, sound, and those beautiful classics. Let's get educated about these decibels we oh so dearly love. On this podcast, we talk about these politics. Welcome to Music Politricks.
Sanwolani dumelang ke re se nna ka leina ke nna Busi mara wa itse ba ba khulu ba ba dese ba re ke the Queen of Pitori, and welcome to another episode of Music Politricks. You know, we are just here to teach you everything there is to learn about music. We're here to share all the facts and learn all the tricks. A big shout out to everybody who's reviewing the podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and Lilona go YouTube. Make sure that you press that subscribe button, like, comment, and of course share in terms of the kind of guests you would like to see and you'd like to have on the platform. Now, today's guest, right, she's more than just a triple threat, you know? I mean, she can sing, she can dance, she can act, she can present. I mean, I'm talking TV and radio. She can DJ. I'm talking she can music arrange, okay? She can do all of these things and so much more. But of course, in this conversation, we're going to be speaking a lot about how we know her in this industry. Music is not a familiar territory for her, but how she's going about positioning herself in the music space currently. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mbali Nkosi. How's it going?
That was such a nice intro. I'm good. I'm good. Like, I'm in a really, like, happy space.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
And then cheap, easy. Like,
Thanks. I'm so happy. Like, for once my skin is behaving. There's always like a pimple, or like some rash or something. Like, but for the first time, I'm like, oh, it's, you know, it's showing the inner piece is showing outside, you know, which is great.
How's it being a rock star? Because, you know, being a DJ, you sleep late.
Yes, you know. There was like an adjustment, obviously, but I felt it was more balanced because I feel like the transitioning, for example, like from acting and presenting into DJing, where it was 16-hour days, right? And you'd only have like those 3-4 hours at night to go through your scripts and go back on set, or presenting where you're on set or at an event for 16 hours and you come back home late. Whereas now it's the opposite, where it's like I feel like I have 16-hour days.
Okay. And then
but then I'm working at night. Okay. But in a weird way, I feel I prefer that because now I feel I've got time to do other things. Like I've got time to spend time with family. I've got time to check in on my businesses. That's cool. I've got time to also just do self-work. Like I can hike, I can listen to music, I can write music, I can read my Bible. So I feel I've got more me time, you know? So I prefer the opposite.
That's really cool. I love that. And of course, musical theater is really your thing. It's your space. Should I say where things started for you?
It is where it started. I think a lot of people don't know that because back then there wasn't social media. But I went to literally art school from like the age of 5. It sounds so cliche. It really does. It really does. And it's not a lie. But back in the day, I used to live in Berea. And in Rosebank, there was an art school called Legal. And it was opposite figures modeling. So my mom signed me up for both. She was like, you know, everybody was like, your child is so cute. She needs to go to modeling. So then they put me in figures. And then figures was like, your child is so like active. Why don't you also sign up to the art school? So literally, that was my weekends. I'd go to figures to go. I was one of those pageant girls. You go to modeling, And then after that, you go from dancing. I did your ballet, your Spanish, your tap, your hip hop, your belly dancing. Straight after that, you had piano, you had drama, you had musical theater, you had singing lessons, all in one day. So my weekends were filled up basically from dancing to music to drama to modeling. And that was my life from 5 all the way till I was like 19.
But prior to that, like, was there like a noticing factor that, okay, look, I can sing. No, actually, I love to dance. I can dance.
I was a very like loud child. I was the child that would jump on the table and be like, "Look at me," and just start singing or just start dancing. So I'm sure also my mom was like, "Okay, we're putting this child into that space," but also because being Papa, she didn't want me to be those children on the street, busy all over the place. So she was like, "Let's keep her busy in the things she likes, but in an art school." So she like threw me in that art school, which I loved. I mean, I looked forward to going. It was like a happy place. From a young age, yeah.
Right now, what did you learn then that you're using now?
I wouldn't say learn.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could say it's a con or bad habit, but because I was so busy as a child, as an adult now, if I'm not busy, I feel something is wrong.
I hear you.
So that's what I said. I don't know if it's a learning thing, but literally from a young age, all I knew was you're waking up early, you're doing something the whole day. Every hour, there's something you're doing, You're getting home at 8, So now when you sit, it's uncomfortable to be
and you're
relaxed.
such a grounded, rooted person. So it's so wild to think that.
I am, but it takes a lot to be like, I can't do that often. Like, again, I give myself that one day to be like, okay, let's breathe, let's relax. But then the next day, it's what are we doing? Like I can't do that like every single day. It feels uneasy, like you're lazy. Like what are you doing with your life? Yeah.
And what's interesting is, I mean, okay, even just let's look at songwriting.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, Thembi said there, Lira, Denim. These are people you've written music for. How did that happen?
It was literally all through Thembi. So I met Thembi at a very young age. I met her around when I was like 15 years old. And through that, it was that thing where she saw all the time, like, oh, you're singing, you're dancing. They're always in studio. You join them because they're family. So you're sitting there and then you're like, can I write something?
Yeah.
And then people are like, yeah, sure, And then if it's good, they use it.
Okay.
If it's not, they're like, try again, So it was nice to be in those spaces. Next thing you're in the studio, somebody else is also there and you're like, oh, can I do something? Can I pitch in? And I became that person where in high school I'd just walk around with the music book and I'm just writing in between classes or during break, I'm just writing something. So it's just something that's always been there. And luckily I just met people and they were in the same vicinity. I was able to see them,
So interesting. And you say high school, you just had that book with you. What are you writing? I mean, you are doing this professionally. You're in high school. What's inspiring your writing at that point?
It was so many things. I mean, at that time, I was going through a depression, which is the reason why I started therapy in high school. Through so many different things. I had... What's the word I'd use? I had social anxiety. I had also a cultural shock, if that makes sense. I grew up knowing who I am and comfortable with who I am. But the moment you got into rooms with other people, they would try and say that you're not who you think you are.
Jeez.
And it was like a crisis where I was like, I'm confused. What do you mean I'm not what I am? Because that's what I know I am. And that's what I thought I am my whole life. And so many people had to like butt in and be like, no, man, I'm Zulu. When you look colored, are you sure that's your father? Jeez. And so many people would like nitpick at so many little things that it started creating a trauma. And my teacher started picking it up and they took me to therapy. The school took me to therapy. And that's the moment I would write about how I feel. Hence the song Free, because I wanted to be free from all of that at that time.
And this is Thembi said this
song,
right?
Yes. I was tired of people telling me who I am and what to do and how to do it. And so there was just so many feelings I was going through at the time. Even the friends I had at the time were not the best of friends. There were people who would always like take what you say and use it against you. So a lot of the times I was a loner, even though I was friendly with everyone and I knew a lot of people. But majority of the time I was a loner. So I'd sit and write how I was feeling. whether it's if I'm falling in love or I don't trust people or whatever. So there was a lot going through my mind that I used to just write it out. Yeah.
And it seems like you've always just had depth, you know. I know you've got depth now, you know. And I mean, I met you at Massive Metro when you were doing radio, but the sense of depth has always been there. But I'm realizing now that actually it's just always been an innate thing.
It has. It has. I think, I don't know, maybe it comes from the storytelling part of it because I've been doing it my whole life.
Yeah.
But I've always just been very like invested in people, where they come from, their stories, music, why was it written. I'm very invested in the lyrics of a song. When people are like, yeah, this beat goes, I'm like, yeah, the beat, but what's the person saying?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are like, no, it's the beat that makes the song. And I was like, yeah, the lyrics, guys. But it's literally a thing where people would be singing and not knowing what the song is about, you know? There's so many songs where people are just dancing and the song's about rape.
Hey.
Or the song is about murder. Or the song is about, you know, molestation. Like, there's so many things. It's like, listen to the song. And I think because I'm an empath, like I draw onto people so easily.
Makes
like
sense.
Energies and what room I'm in. Like, I pick up on that and I'll be like, ooh, I don't want to be here. Let's leave. You know, my intuition's very strong. So I think that also helped when I was dancing. It helped when I was singing. It helped when I was doing theater because I'd work on those energies. And I think it's working now as a DJ because now I'll be like, okay, it's not vibing, let's change, you know?
Cool.
Or, okay, I'm feeling it's getting somewhere. Okay, let's go, let's ride this wave. But yeah, I think, it's just something that's just in there.
And tell me now about the dancing side of you know, because of course you're doing some really cool stuff during the 2010 FIFA World Cup. You were also, of course, traveling a lot with Thembi. They're all over the world. Tell us more about you in terms of dancing.
Oh man, dance was like a passion for me since, as I said, I've literally done like 12 different dance forms and did all the grades, as in actually did the schooling. The only thing I didn't do was the teacher grades because I never wanted to teach.
Cool.
But I literally, as I said, did it from the moment I was 5 till the moment I was 19. When I was 19, I auditioned for Thembi to dance for her. Even though I knew her, she was like, there's no favoritism. Okay. She was even like, I'm not going to be a judge. My dancers are going to judge you and they're going to choose if they want you to be a part of the team or not.
That's fair.
Which is fair. They auditioned me for ballet, contemporary, hip-hop, and banzula. I failed the banzula. I failed it dismally. Passed everything else because I didn't grow up in Lokshin. So for me, banzula was not something that was like something I could do as well.
Sure.
But it was that thing where they're like, no man, we can teach you. You have rhythm, we can teach it to you. And so that's when I started working for her. And it was amazing. We were extremely booked. We traveled from Dubai to China to Lesotho, Botswana, everywhere. And I did that for like a good 4 years. And it was also just great dancing to my own song. Like, it was great.
Hey, why not?
Why not? Because 2 of her songs I'd written, only for me and free. And we were dancing to both of them. So it was really nice to be like, okay, cool. That was part of it. And then after that, because it was something that I was still like comfortable doing, I then decided to dance corporately. So now that's when I was dancing your World Cups and idols and, you know, So You Think You Can Dance background and dancing for your rugby games and stuff like that. But in a sad thing is that's the moment I lost passion for it. Because when it became my salary, I was no longer dancing because it made me happy or dancing because that's the job I wanted to do.
Sure.
I was now chasing what job is available. And not every choreographer is amazing. Not sometimes you dancing hip hop is not hip hop. You know, sometimes they saying, hey, no, we're gonna do a quick situation, but it's taxing and it took away the passion and that's the moment it felt like a job.
Yeah, because I mean, I would think it's a good thing. Corporate money, yes.
Yes,
and,
yes.
The brands you're talking about, I'm like, whoa,
yeah, it sounds
idols.
nice.
It
Yeah.
does.
No, because then you're not dancing the way you used to dance. You're not, like, in a weird way, when I was dancing for Thembi, I still had the passion for it because we contributed to the choreography. We contributed to how we dressed. We contributed to how the show looks like. But when you're doing corporate, they're going to tell you how to dance. And I mean, it's normal. I mean, in any job, you're expected to do what you need to do.
Sure.
But I lost my passion for it then because it just kind of felt like, oh, now I'm a cheerleader. It's like dancing is not cheerleading, but they'll hire you because you're a dancer. So they'll be like, hey, come do cheerleading for the rugby opening, or hey, we need a belly dancer, quick, and you just like I just lost passion for it.
I get it.
And at the same time, I was losing passion for it. My father passed away, and things changed at home, and it was that thing where dancing was just not sufficient to look after me and home. It wasn't enough for me alone, but that's when I went back to corporate, and I said, okay, let's go back to corporate. And it was also an easy transition because the passion was no longer there. So it didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm pulling away from dancing. It was more like this is what I have to do, and actually maybe it's God telling me that's what I need to do because I'm not happy where I'm currently at. And since I'm qualified in the marketing space, let's just go back to corporate. And I went back to corporate, did that for like 6 years. Worked for JTI, worked for Kaiser Chiefs. And then from there, I was just like, okay, cool. I miss entertainment.
Let's go back.
I see this. It's paying the bills. But I miss entertainment. And during the time, I was sneaking it in. Like I'd use my off days to go and shoot Rockville. Or I'd use my off days to go and present. But I had a 9 to 5. Like I had my 9 to 5 corporate job,
And that's so interesting because I mean, this is so jam-packed what you've said so far in terms of songwriting, in terms of dance, and just how much you've been doing all along. And then one realizes that, wait, but this is not how you positioned yourself in terms of in the industry, because when someone thinks sort of, oh, okay, you're a DJ, you've got an EP out now, but it's like, wait, but we know her as the actress, we know her as the presenter. Meanwhile, there was so much more before,
so much more before. I met a majority of the people in the industry as a dancer, and through that they said, no man, you need to present because you've got such a cool personality and you're so talkative. And I was like, man, I'll do it later on, But acting was something I always wanted to do, but I did theater pieces. And it's not like people just think like opportunities fall on your lap. They don't, guys. You go casting. Sometimes you've been casting for years and you make it to callbacks, but you don't get the job for various reasons. So it's not to say it wasn't something, it just happened. It's something you've been trying. While I was dancing, I was going to castings. While I was dancing, I was auditioning. But you don't just get the job, guys. You keep going, you keep trying. So literally, while I was working at Kaiser Chiefs, I auditioned for Rockville. And I got an extra role. Like, I didn't even get a role. I got you can be an extra. And I was like, I'm not going, me, extra. And then my mom's like, there's no such thing as a small role, And I was like, okay. It's like, if you want to say you want to do it, you've never been on set, just go see what it's like being on set, be an extra. And I was like, okay. And it was so awkward because Rockville, it was the prostitute. So now I was being an extra as a prostitute, just chilling there in the club, walking past, dance on a pole nyana for 2 seconds, an extra. And then Gandhi, lo and behold, the person who was supposed to play Cindy got sick and she couldn't come on set. And the director's like, we can't stop shooting. It would ruin everything. We only have the club for a week. And they literally looked at all of us in the green room and they said, who can learn lines on the spot and shoot today? And I was like, me. And I tell you, there was only 2 of us that picked up our hands. Everybody else was scared. So it's like the opportunity arrived. And people were like, wait, as in learn lines now? I was like, me. And the other girl was also like, me. And then they looked at both of us and then they said, here's the script. In 5 minutes, we're coming back. We're auditioning you. Literally. Wow. Came back. They're like, okay, here, you're auditioning with Shona. Go. What? And I was like, I've been waiting for this moment. And I just went at it. They literally called the agent and they're like, Mbali Cindy. Wow. So if I didn't go to that extra job because I was nyatsering it, honestly, I was not going to get that opportunity. And in that moment when they said, who can do it? If I didn't raise my hand, I was not going to get it.
Absolutely.
And now that I had gotten the job, It's a series, so it doesn't take long to shoot. They shoot like in like 2 months.
Sure.
And I didn't need to be there all the time because there was only certain scenes I needed to be in. So I spoke to my MD at the time and I was like, come on, let's use my leave days when I need to shoot. And it was like, cool. They were very nice at me at Kaiser Chiefs. So it was like, cool, no worries. And that's what I did. I literally shot Rockville while I was working. And then when I was done and I went back to work. And then Rockville 2 came back and Rockville 3 came back. And it was like, now it was a consistency. But while that was happening, I had my 9 to 5.
When did you eventually leave your 9 to 5?
This is how people actually think I got into the industry.
Because it's not an easy decision to make.
It wasn't. I auditioned for Vuzu, right? And I wanted it so bad. I wanted it so bad. It was like one of those shows I wanted. You know, like there's that show you're like, you see, I see myself. Like this is me. I can do it. And I was like, come on, it's entertainment, it's music, it's acting, it's all of. I was like, I want to be inside that. And I auditioned, and they were like callbacks, and they're like callbacks, and I'm like, I think I auditioned for Vuzu like 5 times, right?
Yeah.
And when it got to the point I'm supposed to sign, they're like, but it doesn't fit the narrative because Vuzu only has celebrities as presenters. You know, you have to be already an actor. You have to be already a presenter. And at the time, even though I had shot Rockville, it had not been aired, right? Because it takes a while for them to edit and post. And so they were like, we've got a suggestion. Can you go and audition for Big Brother?
The Dreamstream studio in Randburg is a full-service studio on Bromfisher Drive. It's perfectly suited for podcast, music recordings, and general video recordings. Backed up by an experienced editing and production team means you can walk in, record, and walk out knowing that everything will get done as you require. Our mobile gear ensures we can cover your video and live streaming needs on location too. We got the cameras, the lights, and the action to make you and your brand shine. Contact us now, studio@dreamstream.co.za, and we'll make it happen. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself.
And I was like, me? No! I do not want to do Big Brother. I don't know bums. No. I don't want to. I must be kissing people. My mom was touching me. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And they're like, no, listen, right? We're not going to put you on it. We can give you a golden ticket, which means you don't understand the queue. Okay. But we really think if people get to know your personality, it'll be easier for us to put you on as a presenter because it has to be people who are known. And I was just, I toyed with that. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And then I had a conversation again with one of my close friends, Sharon. She's like, dude, you don't have to go in Big Brother and do what you don't want to do.
That's absolutely true.
Like, it's genuinely up to you. Like, it's you. Like, you decide if you want to or not. And Kanti, that season was double trouble. So I was like, I'll go if you go with me. Like, and she was like, cool, I'll go. So we went and we auditioned and we made it to the second round, made it to the third round. And I did not know Big Brother has 10,000 like rounds. And she literally, both of us, we made it like all the way to like 10 rounds or whatever. And literally just before the last round, they were like, Sharon makes sure, puts Mbali straight. So it'll control her. So then they're like, nah, let's take her off. Let's put her alone so that they thought I'm going to be a wild child. But the opposite happened. Because she wasn't there, I was like, what would Sharon do? Whereas when she's there, she'd be like, Mbali, stop it. And it would be more of her be like, Mbali, come to line. Okay. But now there was no come to line because now I'd be like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But I got into Big Brother and I didn't even think I was going to last. I was like, they're not going to keep me. I mean, I'm not hooking up with anyone. I'm not doing anything like that's like crazy. And I was showering with the bikini every single day. So I was like, they are not going to like keep me here. But Kanje Mbali talks. So they kept me for the stories and the dramas and the things I know and the things I was talking about. And I was shocked that I made it till the end. I was like number 3. Which was crazy to me. So when I found out I made it, I literally resigned. I sent an email to Kaiser Chiefs to say, I don't know how long I'm going to go, and they were not going to let me go for 3 months. Yeah, for sure. Any job. So it was it could be a week, it could be 3 months.
It's like you really don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. And they were like, if it's longer than 2 weeks, you need to resign. Okay. And because I did not know how long it was going to take, I had to resign. So I resigned. And I went on the show.
And that is so cool because, of course, Big Brother did so much for your career.
Yeah, it did. It
you
did.
know,
It really
which
did.
is really cool because you hosted the Channel O show after that.
I did, but before Channel O, I hosted All Access.
All Access.
So on that note, when I left Big Brother, I'm now calling Vuzu like, okay, I did it, we're on, we did it. I made it till the end, which is great, which means I can be on. And they're like, but here's the thing, because you were not a crazy girl on the show, now you're not Vuzu.
Hey, cool, come and collect.
And I was like, you made me do this thing for you to tell me I'm not the thing. Like, what's your problem? But then they were like, we got you an audition at All Access. And it's a more mature crowd. And, you know, it's more like, you know, it's not for crazy people.
Yeah.
So we think go and audition for that. And I did that and I got 4 seasons of that. So that was great.
Nice.
And then after that, I got the Channel O show, which was great because it was music, it was DJing.
Absolutely.
Even though I wasn't doing the music and DJing, but I got to interact with the people who were music and DJing. And it was crazy because the people who know. So they were like, when are you going to come on? When are you going to do this thing? And I was like, not yet, guys, when it's time. But yeah, through Big Brother, got a lot of presenting opportunities, a lot of emceeing opportunities. Massive Metro, which was the radio as well. So there was just so many great things that came from the show. And it's crazy. It's been like 8 years, but people still say Big Brother. And I'm like, yo, guys, it's been 8 years.
Like it's been very long.
It's been long.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wait. We're going to talk about your music, right? And I'm so tempted to say that this is your first release musically. But honestly, it's not.
Why are you taking us there?
Hey, hip hop girl.
Oh, gosh.
Gonna get smacked.
Gosh, yes. Oh my gosh. Do you know the crazy thing is that, again, that came from Big Brother.
Yeah.
Because K2 and X and I would always just be rapping around the house and making jokes about it. Because I can write, I was like, I can just convert the poetry into rhymes, right?
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be an issue. Get out the house, get this opportunity where they're like, hey, we want to find your music video. Let's go into studio. Let's record. And I was like, why not? I think for me, I've always had this thing of like, try.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst can do is fail. Just try.
Sure.
And literally recorded like a couple of songs. Did a music video for it. It played on Channel O, which is crazy. But because people didn't know it was me because I didn't use my name.
Yeah.
It didn't get as much traction. But I got like gigs. I was performing it. It was cool. X even wanted us to do a song together, which we were going to release.
Okay.
But then the moment we were meant to release it, I got into a huge car accident.
Oh, damn.
And the car got written off. And one of my friends had to go in hospital because her back got affected. And I think because my whole life then got focused on that, I put that on the back burner and I just never went back to it.
Wow, so you can drop some bars if you want to.
If I wanted to. I don't think I can anymore if I wanted to. But it was cool, man. I'm glad I did it. It's just one of those bucket list things to be like, yeah, I did. It was fun.
That is so cool. And you know what? It's not far-fetched that you went like the Afrohouse route.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is also valid to ask. I mean, piano it just about people are chowing, people are making money, people like you know. So
I know.
I'm sure you did consider going that route.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I actually didn't. Not even a little. I remember when I decided to finally go DJing and I decided to go to DJ school. I went to
2 years.
Yeah.
It's so important to say that because people think, ta-da, now she's
no.
You invested
Yes,
in
I
this.
did. I went to Transcend Academy and they teach you theory, they teach you practicals, the skills, the controller, music, beats, keys. So it was a whole array. And when I first started DJing, I wanted to do hip hop because my history. I wanted to do hip hop, and then I went to Coachella and I went to different music festivals, your Hey Neighbor and your Rocking the Daisies. And I found myself that every time I'm at those music festivals, I'm at the Afrotech stages. I'm at the Afrohouse stages. That's where I am and I'm happy and I feel free and I feel excited. I do go check out the hip hop stage. I do go check out the main stage. But where do I sit? I find myself there on some. Even from back in high school, I was obsessed with your David Guettas. I was obsessed with, Euphonic. I was obsessed with, even like when I think back to the house music I used to listen to, Abo King of Hearts, with DJ Fresh, your Soul Candies, and I said, I actually want to play what I love, what I listen to all the time. And house is such a huge genre. It's not just one thing.
Absolutely.
And I went back to school and I was like, okay, we're not doing hip hop anymore. I've decided I'm doing Afrotech. And they're like, what? What's the change? And I said, no, because I was like, 3 reasons. One, it's what I actually listen to when I go to festivals. It's what I love. And it's what connects people. It's when you see people are having such a great time. It's those songs. Like, even if you think of like how Zeke's dropped his latest Afrohouse song, and it was a global phenomenon because even though he was not saying anything, there was no language to that song, but it connected people. And that's what I wanted. I was like, that's actually what I want. And when I also thought longevity, where do I see myself? I see myself playing in Chulam. I see myself playing in Ibiza. I see myself playing in Kenya. I see myself playing at Descendants in New York. Like, that's Afrotech. That's Afrohouse. And when I look back, I was like, actually, this is something that's been. It just makes more sense. It's more authentic. I'd rather do something that's more authentic to me. And I remember people like, no, you need to be a piano DJ because piano is making a lot of money, and you used to dance, so it'll be easy. You could just dance with the piano songs. And I was like, I don't want to do something because it's popular. I want to do something because it means something to me. And I said, no, I'm doing Afrotech, I'm doing Afrohouse, and I'm doing Glom because I'm KZN girl and it just makes sense to me. That's what I'm going to do. And interestingly enough, in between, as I started DJing, I learned about 3-step and I fell in love with 3-step. And I said, you know what? That's what I'll do. I'll add that. And so that's my spillion. Those are my genres, and I love them. And they have different moods. And they have different feelings. They even different BPMs. So it works for me to be like, if I'm playing in a more relaxed environment, I can go your 3-step. It can merge with piano nicely, for the DJs after. If I'm in a more high energy space, I can play my Afrotech. And even Afrohouse can be chilled. If I want people to go crazy and lose their minds, I play Glom because then you're going 126 and you just make them crazy, and it makes me go crazy because that's who I was. Even when I was clubbing, if Glom came on, I was the girl who'd get on the table and you're gonna see me dance now.
And for real, you are killing the 3-step.
Thank you.
I mean, like, it's so beautiful that you got the variety.
Yes. Thank you. So through that, even when I got approached by Interscore, who's my label, and they were like, Mbali, you DJing finally? Yes, let's do something together. And I was like, great. And they're like, what do you want to do? Piano? And I was like, no, we're doing Afrotech. And they were like, really? And they're like, oh, this is exciting. And they're like, do you have an idea? And I was like, I've always had this idea of actually having songs of the different elements because I'm a somatologist as well. I studied somatology. And hence the depth as well. I believe in energy healing. I believe in healing yourself holistically. I believe music can heal you depending on the hertz that it's played at. And I wanted music that is healing. I wanted music that's played in a specific way that touches every single different chakra. So,
and that's how you ordered it.
And that's how I playlisted the songs to be like, it's going literally from the crown down to the sacral chakra. That's how the songs are played. So if you actually listen to it, it heals you all the way down. And they were like, okay, let's try. And I was like, but if you're doing it, we've got to do it right. I want from the beat, from the instruments we use must resemble that element. I want from the vocalist we choose needs to resemble that element. So we first worked on the beats for like a good 6 months. Because I'm also a perfectionist. I've got an OCD situation. I'd be like, it's not sounding like water. Like, I want it to sound like water. Even like just trying to find out what sounds resemble, especially as Africans, we have lots of sounds that resemble nature, right? Like, this sounds like fire. That drum sounds like a thunder. Like there's certain things it was very specific, very detailed, very thought through. Once we had the beats, it was like, okay, now let's get the vocalists that are going to match the beats. And I literally physically walked up to each people that some people I didn't even know and like begged them to be on the song. And I have such a cute meet cute for every single artist. to think like, for example, Ubuhle, I don't know her from above, so I know her musically.
Yep.
I love her voice.
Yep.
I loved her from the soil. I loved her as an individual artist. And she was on my wish list. I like when we first started on the EP.
Yeah.
They were like, "Who would you want on this EP?" And I said, I'd be so happy if I could get just one of these 3 artists, and I wrote them down. And hey, see me in manifestations. I wrote them down as like, I'd really like this one, this one, this one. And she was one of them. And when I saw her at the SA Film Festival, I ran. I didn't even walk. I ran. I was even out of breath when I got to her, and I was like, hi, my name is Sandile. And she's like, Siswa, breathe.
Yeah.
What's the story? And I was like, I'm such a big fan. I love your voice so much. And she's like, thank you. I'm working on this EP. It's called Elements. And she's like, hold on. I don't work on anything I don't believe in.
Cool.
Because everything needs to speak to me energetically, spiritually. And I was like, but that's why I want you on it, because the song is called Spirit. And and that's what I want. I want it to be about a journey, about take people on this ride. And she was like, I'm on. When must we go to studio? And literally before we went to studio, that week was speaking about my heritage, where I come from. And I was telling her I've always had like the sound bite on my phone of his Thagazelo Zabonkosi. And I've always wanted it on a song. And I think it's because I was also so obsessed with the song that I think it was like Abu Murder did back then.
Okay.
And you could hear the tribalistic sounds coming through, and I was like, I want that. I want that on the song.
Yeah.
Because every time I'm playing that. I want to play my own, doing that,
Yeah.
And she was like, great, send it to me. And I sent it to her, and I was telling her, like, on my dad's side, it's the Swati, but also I want to pay homage to my Zulu side, my mom's side, and it's because those are the people that raised me. And that's why when you listen to the song, the beginning of the song is Thagazelo Zabonkosi. And then the middle of the song is her basically asking for guidance on this journey, welcoming me through this journey. And then at the end of the song is Thagazelo Zabomseleko to basically close it off. So it means so much to me. I've literally dedicated that song to my mom. It's such a beautiful song.
That's so special.
It's so special.
It's so
and
special.
It opens up the EP. It's like, it's also kind of like a stamp to all the therapy I did to be like, yes, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And all you people that say that's not me, go away. Like,
and it's
this
also
is
like,
who I am.
It's low-key giving spiritual intervention, because
Yes.
Bushe wasn't the original artist that
She
was
wasn't.
supposed to be singing that song.
No, we actually had 3 people before her who sang it, and I was like, nope. No. There was one I loved. She had the most beautiful voice, and I wanted her on the song, but the mic refused to record her.
Jeez.
Like, every time she'd come to record in the studio, the mic would like go off, or the song would not record.
Yeah.
We even went outside, we prayed about it, and she's like, I don't know what's happening. I don't understand what's going on. You need to pray about this. We prayed about it, and I was like, you know what? Let's stop recording. We'll come back to it. But when Buhle came on, it was just
Seamless.
And I was like, you know what? This whole EP, it's very spiritual. Like, it chose even the people it's meant to be on. I mean, even when I think the EP was supposed to be submitted by Feb, it was supposed to be released in Feb. But if it was submitted in Feb, Rolene was not going to be on the EP. Sandile was not going to be on the EP.
How did you even convince him? I mean, we didn't know he could sing.
No, I think the one thing I tell people is, if you did musical theater, you can sing, you can dance, you can act.
Triple threat solid. Done.
Exactly.
Yes.
And he did musical theater. But again, musical theater is not something that's screened. You don't watch it on TV. You don't watch it. You have to go physically be present to watch the performance.
That's true.
And I kept telling him, you have such a beautiful voice and people should hear it. And he's like, no. And I'm like, you can't care what people are going to say.
Yeah.
Teen is a bad syndrome. You really need to just do your own thing. And eventually I was like, you know what, you're a storyteller. Let's create a story, right? I want you on Earth. And Earth, the beat is very grounding. We used a lot of bass. We used a lot of drums that are like resonating down to the core of Earth. Let's create a story about it. Let's create something like that. And he was like, okay, I think I've got an idea. How do you feel if we write a song about like giving up our land and we were not meant to?
Ooh.
And I said, that's powerful. Let's do that. Let's do that. And because the storytellers, it became a beautiful piece. And that's what Umhlaba is about. It's literally apologizing to whoever's your higher sense of self. It could be God, it could be the universe, it could be your ancestors, and saying, you've given me this gift.
Yeah.
And it was something I was supposed to use to cultivate something for my future generations. And now I've given it away. And now that I've given it away, I'm not only harming myself, I'm dishonoring the past, but I'm also neglecting the future.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's why he's apologizing in the song, to be like, Nyaxolisa, like, I did not mean to give away this piece of land that you gave to me, and I gave it away for nothing. And now it's affecting everyone. And even though that is what it's about, I'm sure so many people can resonate with so many different things where there was something that was precious to you and you gave it away. It could have been your body. It could have been your time. It could have been a skill. It could have been even an asset that you just gave away and you didn't know why you did it. And later on you realize, should not have done that, because I'm not only affecting me, I'm affecting the people after me. And that's why it ends off. It's such a deep song. Every single song has a meaning. Every single song has depth. And it's because it's different elements. And that's why Umhlaba is strong, and his voice is very strong. It made sense. And we went in and it just came out so beautiful. Every time I play it in my sets, people are like, what song is that? Because it resonates. You feel it, like you feel it in your core. And I was like, that's what I wanted. Even when I think of like the other 3 songs, quickly going into Dreams, which is the air element. Right? Yes, we used a lot of percussion instruments so that it could be airy, so that it could be dreamy. And her voice is airy and dreamy.
Like on point.
On point. Yeah. And she wrote such a beautiful song. It's literally about when love changes. And I mean, that's what air does, right? It changes. It could be soothing, it could be harsh, it could be amazing. And she went the love route to be when you want to be with someone, but you're not sure because things are changing and you had plans and now the plans are changing and you're changing, growing. Is that love still the right one for you? And it's that question asking for yourself, like, is this what I'm meant to do right now?
That is very profound.
And even though I want it, but is it the right thing? You know, so much has changed. We're different, you know, and I love that song. It's so catchy. It's so beautiful. It's so meaningful. But because it's so airy, a lot of people just don't hear the message, which is what I say. People tend not to listen to the message. And then Yemaya, which is actually my water element, is sung in Spanish.
I was about to ask, what language is that? It's such a beautiful song.
Yes, it's sung in Spanish, and it's because Yemaya is the water goddess from Yoruba origin. And a lot of the Yoruba people, when they went through the slave trade, they ended up in Cuba and they ended up in New Orleans. So hence they spoke a lot of Spanish.
I see.
Right.
I see.
So a lot of people pay homage to her.
The Dreamstream studio in Randburg is a full-service studio on Bromfisher Drive. It's perfectly suited for podcast, music recordings, and general video recordings. Backed up by an experienced editing and production team means you can walk in, record, and walk out knowing that everything will get done as you require. Our mobile gear ensures we can cover your video and live streaming needs on location too. We got the cameras, the lights, and the action to make you and your brand shine. Contact us now, studio@dreamstream.co.za, and we'll make it happen. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself.
She's like one of the Orishas. She's one of the people that they basically pray to for like fertility, for abundance, for guidance, and she's a protector of women. She's if a person's ever been abused or whatever, that's the person you pray to say, release me from the trauma. Just a little snippet, we don't need to go into it too much, but because I suffered from that as well in my past, some sort of physical and sexual abuse, it was one of those things where it meant a lot to say, let's pay homage to that and say, we've gone through that. It's the past. We're now in a different space. And that's what the song is. We're now in a different space. We're moving forward. But before we move forward, what do we need to do? We need to cleanse ourselves. And what does water do? It cleanses you. So you walk through this journey of you finally get to a place where you're over it. It no longer affects your life. It no longer hinders you. It no longer changes you. Yes. And you're just cleansing it. You're washing yourself over. You're opening your heart to say, I want to look forward and I want to move forward. And that's why the bridge, Boskasi has that moment where she says, listen, I'm here. I've made it to the river. I'm here with an open heart. Whatever is in the past, let's leave it. I'm here. I'm coming to you as a woman, and I want to cleanse myself, and I want to move forward into this journey that I'm going through. And it's so beautiful. It's cleansing. It's poetic. It means so much, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to pay tribute to African cultures. I wanted to pay tribute to African past, because that's who we are. It's what makes us.
And it's so beautiful that you also arranged the EP. It's so important that you did, actually. That now that I'm hearing the depth of every little decision that was made in creating it.
Yes, even moto means fire in Swahili. And same thing, we made sure to use a lot of Kenyan drums. We even have the voice singing in Swahili. I added a little bit there, harmonizing on some of the songs. But it was literally every single song has a meaning. Every single song has a story. Every single song is paying tribute to one of our cultures. And I'm purely African. I see myself not South African as a person who's African. I purely believe in we would be stronger as a united nation, and I want to put that in the music. I want people to relate to that. We have same cultures. We have the same feelings, and that's also why it's 5 songs. Because normally, if you look at elements, it's 4. It's earth, air, fire, water. But because we're African, spirit is an element.
Absolutely.
And that's why it needs to be there.
And holistically as well, it comes together so beautifully.
Thank you.
You've done amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Guys, listen to it. We put a lot into it.
Singing, I mean, come on. We need to hear you sing, girl.
I am, definitely.
Especially with you and Sandile as well. I think that would be nice.
Look at you like, No, definitely. While we're working on the EP, we're working on the album as well.
Nice.
So on the album, definitely going to have me singing more in the forefront than in the background. And I'm going to hear more of me playing the saxophone and the piano. So it was just more of an introduction to be like, here I am. Let's understand who I am. You know, I'm a person who's spiritual. I'm a person who has storytelling. I'm a person who has a belief in uniting African cultures and nations, and I believe in authentic music, and I wanted people to know that first. Then after that, we can go into me releasing my Gqom song, so let's party, 3-step. But as an introduction, I wanted you to understand who I am, where I come from, hence Isthakazelo Sam, hence speaking about the past, hence talking about things that we lost. I mean, even Umhlaba means a lot to me. My family had an orchard farm in KZN, and they sold it, and we lost generations of wealth. And hence why I'm in farming now. I'm bringing it back because it's a situation of, as I said, every song is meaningful to me, and it's basically, if you wanted to know who I am, if you listen to the songs, you'd understand what I've been through without me saying too much as well. And so
big shout out, man.
Beautiful.
Big shout out.
Piece of work.
I absolutely, because obviously Interscore, it's you, it's Black Motion as well, it's DJ Buckz.
Yes.
So can we expect to see you working with the
100%? I mean, Black Motion is featured on Moto, DJ Buckz actually sang on one of the songs I want to do for my album.
Nice.
So of course, I mean, that's family. When you're in studio, we always like collaborating together. We always working with each other. And I think also people don't know that, like, Buckz sings, guys. Like, got a beautiful voice. So I'm also excited about the album, but it's gonna take time, because I take time with things. Everything I do has meaning behind it. I don't just,
you don't just rock.
Like singles are singles, just a song. But if it's a body of work, like an album or an EP, I really want there to be some storytelling behind it. And there's already a concept. It's already there. It's there. It's now just executing that concept. But definitely,
are you going to tell us what it is?
I can, because it's not like it's already there.
Okay.
It's not like it's a secret.
Okay.
It's going to be a 12 to 17 track album.
Okay.
We're still deciding. They want 12, I want 17.
Okay.
And each song is going to be a place where I originate from.
Oh.
So I can tell you that.
Okay.
Yeah. I can tell you that. I did a DNA test, and it tells me exactly every single country.
Wow.
So I want every single country to I want a song from every single place I'm from.
And that's so cool, because that's what Isithakazelo is.
Exactly.
It's really the journey of your people
Exactly.
as they move and as they settle in different places.
Exactly. 100%.
So that's so cool. That's so cool. How are you finding yourself position-wise in this industry? Yes, you have had been in music for a very long time, you know, and then obviously what people know you as is the actress, the presenter, and now you're really going back, right? How are you finding yourself position-wise in this industry?
I'm gonna be honest, hey. Every decision and everything that I've done, I never focused on the industry. And that's probably why people go, yeah, another thing. Wena, jack of all trades. You're not sticking to one thing. I refused to do something that was not for me.
Yeah.
And I'm a pure believer, if something no longer serves you, let it go. And I literally went into dancing because it made me happy.
Yeah.
When the passion left, I let it go.
Yeah.
I went into corporate because, again, guys, I'm great at marketing.
Yeah.
I'm great at stats.
Yeah.
But when it was no longer serving me, I let it go.
Yeah.
When I did my acting and everything, I was very happy in the space. But it became a very toxic environment for me personally. And it became a place where my depression was coming back. The one that I had when I was in high school. I could see myself needing therapy again. I could see myself calling therapists again to say, it's stressful. And then you start worrying about what people are going to say. And da-da-da. And then I was like, it's that time. Let it go. And when I did let it go, I was focusing on my businesses. And I was focusing on Azuri. I was focusing on I was focusing on the farm. And then, but it's literally like a little bug. It always calls you back, and it always wants you to come back. And I remember having this conversation. I was having it with my boyfriend, and I said to him, like, I feel lost, because when you are in arts, it fulfills you.
Yep.
It makes you feel whole, regardless of what you're doing. You could be doing anything, but you feel fulfilled. Even if people see it, they don't see it, they hear it, they don't hear it. But after the act of you doing a presenting job, a radio gig, an MC, you come home and you feel fulfilled. You're like, that was love. It's like a release. And I needed to get back into that. And it didn't have to be acting or music. Or I was like, maybe I should go into cooking. I'm a great cook. Guys, I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I'm really amazing.
Okay.
And I was like, if there's one thing I can toot my horn on, you can't tell me about my pots. And I was like, maybe I should go to culinary school and be creative in that sense.
Because honestly, that's an art form in itself.
Exactly. I was like, maybe I should extend Azuri and go back into beauty, but maybe now do medical aesthetics, because I did somatology. Why don't I do that? Your Botoxes and stuff. And I literally sat there with 3 options. And I was like, well, maybe I should do DJing, because this is something I've been saying I want to do forever. But there's so many people DJing now, they're going to throw me in the same bracket. I don't want to be thrown in the same bracket. And he's like, you keep telling me, stop worrying about people, and now you're worrying about people. What do you want to do? And I was like, I want to DJ. He's like, then go to DJing school and do that. But the option was to go to school for all of them. I was like, I'm either going to go to culinary school, because my sister is a chef already. I knew exactly where I was going to go. I was going to either go to culinary school, I was going to go back to somatology school and expand in that, because I already have an eye tech and a Citesco. It was just now getting better grades. Or do I go into DJing school? I saved for school. School was going to happen. Just where was I going to go? And then that's when we're like, let's not give up on entertainment. And then I went to DJing school. I mean, cooking's not going to go away. I'll probably be a chef later on in life. The beauty bar will always be there. I can always expand on it. Again, it's something I'll probably retire doing. But I was like, I think this is the right time to do the DJing.
And it's so cool, because it sounds like you're really saying you're going where you're happy.
Yeah, always. That's with friendships. That's with love. That's with work. I believe in a balance of 5. It sounds crazy. That sounds like me with my holistic living.
Yeah.
No human is 100% happy if you're only feeding one part of your life.
We're multi-layered people.
Yes. So you need to make time for your family. You need to make time for your friends.
Yeah.
You need to make time for a loved one. You need to make time for work. And you need to make time for self. If you do not do any of those things, if you're fully career driven, you're whole. If you're fully worried about, I'm only with family, but you're not working. That's why you'll see people are housewives, but they're like, something is lacking.
Imbalance.
Or there's an imbalance. Or you could be I've got a great family. I've got a great job. I look after myself, but you don't have a relationship with your family. Something will be missing.
Absolutely.
So you need to always have that balance and make sure that you check in on all of them. Check in. I believe in journaling. I believe in meditating. Check in on yourself to be like, okay, even if people come and go, because that's life. But which people are feeding into me right now? That friendship might not have worked, but there is a one that's still there. Let me work on that one. Let me check in on that person. I haven't spoken to my mom in a while. Let me check in on her or a sister. Let me go out.
Things.
Very important things.
Yeah.
It fills you up. It makes you whole. And
Okay. That's so cool. All right, we are out of
I
time.
know. We've been.
I
can talk forever.
Yeah.
Hence.
But very, very quickly,
Yes.
advice for someone who wants to be positioned in a certain way music-wise, but maybe they're not known as a music person or a person who is actually working in the music industry, regardless of the fact that they've got that passion and that's what they love and that's what makes them happy.
Yeah. For me, I feel there's something with every single industry. I genuinely think you need to create space. You need to create space. You're lucky now there's so many tools where you can show your talent. There's TikTok, there's YouTube, there's podcasts, so even if you're not given the opportunity, you now can show people your skill, right? So show people your skill. That's the biggest thing. 2, you need to learn to network. People need to know you. And the only way you can do that is by networking. If you are a musician, go to places where musicians hang. Go to like if you want to DJ, go to a DJing school because DJs come there. If you're an actor, go to theaters, go to theater pieces. If you're a singer, go to open nights, open mic sessions. You need to be seen. If you're not there, nobody's going to remember you. You have to always network. You have to always be out there. But also the one thing I always say, and this is just because life changes and things change, you need to learn to be adaptable. Adapt and change. If I say this all the time to say, if when the TV came out, and back then people did not act on TVs, you acted on a theater stage. If those people said, "Oh no, I'm not gonna go on TV because acting is only on," you were not gonna get work. So if technology moves on, move on. If you're an actor and you see people on TikTok acting, act. Instead of complaining that people are coming to the space. Infiltrate the space. You're great at it. You've got experience. You've got skill. You even have a following. Infiltrate the space. Go in there. There's so many monologues that you have to read for castings. Post your monologues. Post them on YouTube. Post them on TikTok. Post your self-tapes. As a musician, you write songs. Post the work you write. Whether it gets 1 view, 1 stream, 1 post that you never know who's going to listen, who's going to hear you. I've had so many moments where I'm in a space and say what I do. Also, that's a huge thing. Do not be scared of saying what you do, even if people don't think you are it. I'd sit in a space and be like, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm a DJ, I'm a farmer, I'm a presenter. Because really, what do you... Because that person could know someone. Or they could be that someone that's like, "Oh, really, you act? Give me a monologue now."
Cool.
"Oh, you sing now. Sing now." And don't be scared to sing in that moment, or don't be scared to dance
or
in
rap,
that moment,
or
whatever it is. Because
Yeah.
even example, Rockville,
Yeah.
they were like 5 minutes, who can do
Absolutely.
it? And I jumped on.
Absolutely.
Same as DJing, I threw myself out there. I called the clubs before I was ready and I said, I'm DJing now. Can I come? And they're like, cool, here's the date. And I threw myself in the deep end on some. Like it or not, we are going that day. We're DJing. We're going to see what happens. You know,
I love it.
Yeah.
Keep shining, Mbali.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
I've got a question to ask you. This is like Mabala knows once upon a time it's something that happened in your career.
Yes.
Is it true that they gave you guys 5 million rand as sign-on fee?
No, they didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, they didn't. I wish they did. They
I
didn't.
also wish they did.
I wish they did. They didn't. So Mabala Noise approached me after, it was the SMAT area, after I did the music video.
Okay.
And they were like, we love that. We want to get a hip-hop female on the books. Because then there was Gigi Lamaine, it was Nasty C.
Yeah.
And what they did provide was, we'll give you free studio time.
Okay.
We will connect you with artists that we have connections with.
Okay.
That's how Nasty C got to do a lot of stuff with people in New York. That's how, so it was that thing of, if you want a song, we can link you up with Tinashe. We could link you up with, they had
That's
that
so
network.
cool.
Yeah. We have concerts. So when we bring people down, you can perform on the same stages so that it gives you that portfolio that, hey, I was on the same stage as Usman Ban, you know.
Cool.
They provide anything you wanted to do, they provided it, but it wasn't physical cash. So it was do you want to go to studio? Do you want to shoot a music video? Do you want to meet someone? Do you want to be on that event? Do you want to get on MC work? That sort of thing. So it was not just music. So through that, I got a lot of MC work. I got a lot of interview stuff. It was literally a thing where I was supposed to go into studio. I was even meant to be in studio with Kanye and Nasty because we're all under the same label. But then a lot of stuff was happening, and then everybody was like going into them, and then the record label crumbled.
Yeah.
But no, it did not. They did not give us any money.
Okay.
No.
All right. No,
they
was just
didn't.
checking
They
something.
didn't. And it's sad because I was actually happy when they came out. We don't have that culture in music where you're family, and I feel that's what record labels do. They make you a family. Think of Family Tree.
Yeah. Even Ambitious Entertainment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It creates that vibe of, we are strong, we're here, we're supporting each other's work, we're there. And when they came with that energy of, we're going to push you, we're going to introduce you to artists in London, we're going to introduce you to artists in America, they were providing an opportunity.
Absolutely.
You could choose what you do with that opportunity.
And really the world is your oyster at this point.
Yes. So I did not see it as a negative. And people should also stop doing that. And it's a South African thing to bash things before they happen. People are complaining there's no opportunities. People are complaining there isn't stuff happening. When people provide that space, let's not break the table.
Love that. I absolutely love that. Where can people find you on the socials?
Guys, you can find me at the Mbali Nkosi everywhere. It's not Themba, it's the Mbali Nkosi. Because, there's so many Mbali Nkosis out there. And then Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, YouTube, it's all Mbali Nkosi. And then Facebook's the only one that's Miss Mbali Nkosi. Still have Facebook page. Because a lot of people still use it.
Yeah.
But that's where you can check me out. Stream the music, use the music, play, make reels, do whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, I hope you connect with it. Yeah.
I hope one day you come back with your saxophone and you tell us a little bit more about what it was like learning.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining
Definitely,
us.
Well, thank you so much.
The one and only Mbali Nkosi. I hope that you learned just as much as I did. If you'd like to book this studio, maybe you want to record your own music or perhaps shoot your own podcast, all you need to do is send an email. It is info@dreamstream.co.za. Goodbye.